You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and she will let you know when the time has passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and she will let you know when the time has passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and she will let you know when the time has passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and she will let you know when the time has passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and she will let you know when the time has passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and passed. Good luck. You're going to have 5 minutes to prepare for your opening speeches and your arguments. We're not going to keep the time, and Hello, everyone. Your time for preparation has elapsed. I would like to ask if everyone who's not speaking to turn off their mic and camera off. And once you have started speaking, you can turn on your camera again. So I would like to invite Lille to make their opening speech.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm asking, yeah, but Lille is first with their opening speech. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Lviv is first, because you're in favor. I'm very sorry, just go ahead.
Now, can you hear me at those
Yes.
distance from microphone?
Yeah.
Okay. When can I start? So good evening, greetings from Lviv, honorable judges, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure for us to be here presenting our position. So we firmly believe that in our today's democratic world, there is no time for any kind of discrimination. However, nowadays we have such situation when men are taking most of the public sector positions. And I would like to turn attention to some databases because according to Amnesty International and United Nations, there is no country in the world, there is no culture in the world, and there is no region in the world that where women are not abused. So why do we have this situation now? Since ancient times, there were no place for women in politics. And nowadays, we have a lot of stereotypes and some kind of partiality toward them. And one of the most effective tool how can we make situation better is to make both men and women proportionally represented in public sector. So my structure of arguments is including three arguments, and I'm moving to the first political one, because when we are making this kind of system of representing both genders, it leads us to diversity of opinions, which obviously covers more people's needs and which also take into account a wide range of segments of our population. And affirmation actions include not only increasing diversity, but also it's compensate for damage caused by individual, political, institutional, and obviously implicit bias and discrimination. And obviously to avoid some kind of group thinking and blind spots, we should be ensure that our representatives for both genders are sitting at the table when the major decisions are made. So my second argument is economical argument, and because it's more profitable for the country, for the state conglomerate, when women and men are working together equally, because they harmonically complete each other. And professionalism is not going to suffer, because usually men and women have different kind of approaches, opinions, which obviously can cause some kind of conflict, which can lead us to some or reasonable solution of the situation. And as a New York Post has posted some databases, the nation of women, the women-lead nations doing better with COVID-19 consequences. And I'm not talking about that women are better than men. No, it's not the point. But if we have women in our team, it includes a more diverse approach. It includes more wide range of experiences, opportunities, opinions, and expertises. For example, Angela Merkel, when Angela Merkel was making her anti-coronavirus policy, she includes different various international experience, and as a result, Germany is the country with a coronavirus death rate that is dramatically lower than other Western countries. So last but not least is social argument, because it's a very unfair situation when women during her interview should speak and answer the questions about pregnancy, about children, about maternity leave, while men at those times should talk about real business and the real cases. So to cut a long story short, gender proportionality 50-50 is a real step from declaratively right to truly truly equal opportunities. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would like to invite Lille to make their opening speeches and turn on.
Thank you. Good evening to all. The public service can be defined as an activity exercised directly by public authority or under the control of public authority in order to satisfy needs or impose obligations in the pursuit of general interest as defined by the Dean Vidal. The senior public service as a realm of decisiveness should remain an area of high competence and should therefore not apply the principle of positive discrimination that strives for the equal representation of men and women within the public service. Indeed, though it is indubitable that without a minimum presence of women within these decisive bodies, it is unlikely that despite the pursuit of the advancement of common good, that sufficient attention would be accorded to situations that affect women disparately. This is due much to the epistemological limitations of human empathy and altruism, as Hegel stated that representation is above all else a form of self-governance. On the contrary, however, the incentive for equal gender representation violates the principle of the indivisibility of the administrative electorate when the member of the public service is designated throughout a vote, or even the principle of the autonomy of the administration, which is central to the theory of representative democracy. As a matter of fact, it jeopardizes the right of men who aspire to positions within the senior public service, as they would have to renounce to their own aspirations in favor of female candidates. While this criteria of selection to be a member of the senior public service should be the ability to render a service of general interest, as a matter of fact, an OECD report of 2015 showed that women represented over 58% of the public sector in 2013, which shows how this incentive for equal gender representation is actually more of an inclination towards a dominant representation of women. Just as an illustration of how these measures are illegal, therefore the illegality of such measures, an example could be taken within another institution of the state, which is the parliament. Indeed, for example, in France, in 1982, the French parliament had passed a law that legally mandated gender quotas in order to reform the municipal electoral system. The Constitutional Council deemed that this law was unconstitutional on the basis of Article 3 of the Constitution and Article 6 of the Declaration of the Rights of Men of 1789. Indeed, both of these texts sanction the principle of equality in the eyes of the law. And this principle is actually common to many modern democracies. As a result, this principle precludes any person or groups of people from claiming the exclusive exercise of national sovereignty. And other countries, such as Spain and Italy, have deemed similar laws to be against the principle of equality in the eyes of the law. Therefore, the same principle could be extended as it pertains to the public service, particularly the senior public service, where the autonomy or the freedom of discretion in the designation process of the members of the administration would become politicized rather than a pursuit of general interest. And furthermore, it violates the principle of equality in the eyes of the law. This principle entails equal access to jobs within the public service for men and women, but it does not entail a predetermined composition of the said service. In conclusion, though it is undeniable that the relevance of public policy will partially depend on a minimum presence of women within the senior public service, because of the self-referential nature of representations stated by Hegel, it is important to have women. However, the autonomy of the designation process should not be conditioned by gender quotas. Rather, it should remain a quest for efficient service in order to satisfy general interests, which I remind is the very premise of the existence of the public service as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to invite Lviv to make their first argument.
Thank you. First of all, we would like to emphasize that equal representation by men and women in actually public bodies doesn't mean to actually deprivation of professional men actually in their bodies. It means that only the best men and only the best women should be represented in the body. Actually, if we have half to half representation, it means that men actually would be selected only the best men, the highly competitive and highly professional. And actually, the statistic provided by well-known Statista Holding actually states that women would apply for job only in the case if she is 100% sure that she would apply, that she would fulfill all the requirements. And actually, there is statistics that women are less tolerated to the corruption, since it's harder to them to achieve such positions. That's why they actually don't tolerate corruption. For that reason, we actually make a sequence that it's better to choose half to half men and women representation in the highest bodies, since women can represent interests that do not in the scope of vision of men. So, and moreover, they less tolerate corruption, and the same actually professional and make the women also such effective as men. But in our modern world, it's actually quite comprehensive to achieve such places. Thank you.
Thank you, Lviv. I would like to invite Lille to make their first argument as well.
You stated that abuse would be compensated by the equality of women in the public sector, and it would allow for a diversity of opinions. However, equality outside of the service is ensured by efficient policy and not a numerical limit. Equality is a matter of access to positions within the public service. And above all else, the public service is a quest for competence. Competence is indispensable to the public service. It is undeniable that without a minimum presence of women within the service, that such policies wouldn't affect women in a differentiated manner. However, there are so many social disparities that actually come into account, and not just being conditioned to having a certain amount of women within the service. Because, for example, such a policy would be in favor of privileged women, whether it be because of their race, their revenue, or their access to education that would have allowed them to be part of the senior public service. Therefore, above all else, the public service is at the quest of competence. And even if we were to have an equal number of women within the senior public service, it would be favoring privileged women, whether it be because of race, money, or academia, which all in all doesn't resolve the social disparities that exist between women outside of the senior public service.
I would like to invite Lviv to make their second argument.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I would like to emphasize that we are not protecting only women, because there also could be those spheres in the senior public sector, which is not where women are the major part of the employers, such as, for example, social political ministry or something like that. So we are protecting not only women, we protect both genders, which should be represented equally by both sides. And you're accusing us of making not positive discrimination, but reverse discrimination. We are talking about affirmative actions, because women and men are at the beginning not on the equal position, and those affirmative actions can make them at the same position, and then they can move together. Then can move forward and to show their competence and professional skills. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite Lille to make their second argument as well.
Thank you. I will start by raising a point that was actually raised in the European Court of Justice decision, Abrahamson and Anderson, which was saying that it would be unfair to provide employment to someone regardless of their qualification, solely based on a gender, in a sense to maintain a quota. Because what we see with positive discrimination is that women could be only hired in order to respect quotas, and it's the same thing that occurs with other minorities, for instance, people with disabilities or people of color, and this would mean that they are not hired based on their competence. The other problem with positive discrimination is that it would mean having equally an equal number of men and women in the same workplace. However, it is well known that those representative jobs have a lot more of men available for that specific job rather than women. So the problem is that it will be easier for the people hiring to find better qualified men, in the sense that there are more men available on the market rather than women. So that would be my point. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite Lviv to make their last argument and conclusion.
So we would like to make a conclusion that still the diversity is required in our political life, and actually equality requires different approaches. And it doesn't mean that to be equal, the same approaches can be conducted for men and women. We should understand that there is a difference between those two genders, but we should take into consideration some benefits actually of being elected women to the higher public sector. For example, it is proven that women are much more better in resolving any disputes in a peaceful way. And we only want to emphasize that behind all the great achievements take great people, and in our modern society we still lack great women in the higher positions in the higher bodies. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I would like to invite Lille to make their last argument as well.
Yes, thank you. I understand your point of view, and when you say that there is a kind of discrimination during the application processes for a job, law punish it without even need to apply positive discrimination in this way. And you say also that both sides, like men and women, should be in an equal position, but it is really equality to allow women to have a positive discrimination and some quota, and like just to have a job reserved for them. We are, to conclude, we are in no way claiming that women should not be present in the civil service and in the senior service, of course, but more specifically that it is an injustice that they should be subject to positive discrimination there. We say yes for gender equality in society, but it seems normal to you that quota for places in the civil service should be reserved for women, for the simple fact that they are women, because women who are privileged over men and who maybe are more competent academically, but not have like the defect of just being born as a man. So should equality really be determined in favor of parity? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was the end of the debate. We have one judge here present with us. I don't know if Ms. Maria is able to give us feedback right now.
Hi. Let me wait. Okay, cool, great. So hi, I'm one of the judges. I'm a lecturer at the Hague University of Applied Sciences in the Public International Law line. So thank you so much for taking the time this Friday to come and basically defend your positions. Just a couple of points of feedback from my end. So for example, so for the Lille team, what I would have recommended, and what I recommend in general to students, is that when you debate, the first thing that you should open up with is your position, right? So exactly what argument you are going to make and the strategy that you are going to use to demonstrate this, right? But also the roadmap that you will follow in order to get to that thing. And that's what I felt was kind of missing here, and sometimes it was a little bit difficult for me to follow here and there. Glory, you were the first speaker for the Lille team, and what really stood out for me was just how wonderfully eloquent you are. So I really love that, and your use of tone. The camera looks blocked for me, so I'm just like gonna stop it. There you go. So yeah, really well done. It was a very nice opening, and I loved the composure that you used. Right. So very well done. So with regards to the roadmap, for example, or the type of arguments, that's where I felt that the Ukrainian team did better, in the sense that they really clarified from the get-go what type of arguments they would use. And I noticed that when they moved from one argument to another, they would actually say argument, and then they would start presenting. And that's really important for a listener, because then you always know where you're at, and what to pay attention to. A point of constructive feedback for the Ukrainian team, I guess, would be just try and pace yourselves a little bit more. I know that there is a lot of things that you want to say in a very limited amount of time, but just try to pace yourself, just like pause and try to use tone a bit more effectively. So I think that will also improve the presentation style. Very well done to everyone. Thank you very, very much. And that's it from me. Marilke, I'll stop there.
Yes, since we only have one judge present, we'll keep it at that. I hope you all enjoyed the debate. Yeah, I hope you have a good evening. I don't know if Miruna has any last remarks.
Thank you for the feedback. We'll try and we'll improve. Thank you so much.
Just wanted to congratulate you all. It was a pleasure to listen to you, all of you, and it was my first debate for this year, so it was really interesting. Good luck in everything you do, and I'm looking forward to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, guys. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for competition.
Thank you for being here.